I should clarify something about my love of pinball before we get to the very end here. While I very much love playing pinball, and obviously have been doing so for hours and hours over the last week, please understand that I am terrible at it. Occasionally I'll have a good run, but I don't tend to stick with the table long enough to really learn the rules and the ins and outs to get good, as the kids say. Usually I just like hitting the ramps over and over again, even though they normally don't result in many points. But so the thing is, I just like being around it. I like the pinball arcade experience, the lights and the artwork, the engineering of it all. I appreciate every aspect of it. I'm just not very good. Occasionally I'll go on a tear, usually on the last ball in an impromptu tournament with my friends, but that's rare. This probably helps explain why I prefer one admission price over pumping quarters into the machines. It's value, especially for a mediocre player such as myself. Now, all that is 100% true. Don't think that was a setup to then pivot into what I'm about to say as some kind of a joke. But there were brief moments on this trip where I ended up in the zone and murdered the scoreboard on a couple of machines. And I have documented proof. First, at Artcade, there was no current high score set for the Far Out machine, so I submitted mine. Sure, it's the default top score, but it's not just the top score by default, it's a good score. I did good. Later, at Arcade Monsters, where they have a dedicated scoreboard for everyone who logs into the Stern app, it's all very neat for reasons I explained earlier, I managed to crack the top 8 of this calendar year's top scores on Elvira's House of Horrors. Then the next night at District, I put up a score that if I'd been at Arcade Monsters would have landed me in the top 5. Check me out, y'all, I'm good at pinball. Anyway, I'm up early this morning and pinball isn't open yet, but luckily there are 2 antique malls right next to each other around the corner from the arcade. So let's check them out. Since that was my last collectibles hunt for this trip, I'll go ahead and say that of all the things I've shown you, all the things I've filmed and put into montages, only one of them came home with me. Now, I picked up a lot of stuff in these places, don't get me wrong, but only one of them appeared in one of these episodes. Tell me which one it is in the comments. Let's see how well you think you know me. Well, I got time for a quick stop for lunch. I wonder what this place has. Oh, right. Now on to the last pinball stop in Oviedo for this trip. It's inside the Oviedo Bowling Center, where there's not just a lounge area, but a pinball lounge. And guess what? It's called the Pinball Lounge. I saved the Pinball Lounge for last because it's the only stop on the trip where coins are required. They do have a free play special on Fridays from 8 p.m. until closing, which seems like a bad night to run a special like that, but what do I know? I'm not in the lounge industry. Putting quarters into a pinball machine is a strange feeling. I haven't done this in decades. Because of the aforementioned stinking at pinball, it's a very poor value for me to play this way. Not only because I'm bad at it, but most places that have coin-operated machines these days charge $1 per play. Some machines usually have deals where you can get 3 games for $2, so if there's a machine that you're really into and you know you want to play it more than the others, go for the deal. I've seen a couple of really recent ones that advertise 7 games for $5, and I don't know if I'm there yet, but $2 for 3 games of Godzilla and 007? Yeah, I could do that. Not for long, but I could do it. Also, paying per play suddenly makes you very aware of the scores or goals needed to get an extra ball or a full replay. And that number spent at the end of each game to see if you're going to get a free credit suddenly becomes the most important thing in your life. Anyway, the Pinball Lounge is nice, probably even nicer if you like to drink and lounge. The machines are in good shape, are actively being serviced, there's Stern Insider features on many of them, and a networked scoreboard just like at Arcade Monsters. It's nice. If you've got a jar full of quarters to get rid of, I can't think of a better place. I mean, a bank. Maybe. I blew through my $10 real quick, so I'm going to head back to the hotel now to rest and start packing up for the journey home. As you've seen, I've got a lot of stuff to try and cram into a suitcase. Please consider coming back for just one more episode, and I'll wrap up the whole series in a neat little bow. See you then.